It is Thursday, August 4th, 2022. This is another edition of Baseball Today. This is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. We got producer Rob. We've got a pair of summer interns with us, Alden and Sam as well. Oh, and producer Dan is in the house.
Yeah.
We are together. Why?
Well, we got something going down at the warehouse.
Yeah, we're at the warehouse. So we're together. Even though we live about 10 miles apart in Los Angeles, we flew 3,000 miles just so we could sit next to each other for Baseball Today.
That's not true. But listen, we have the warehouse coming up here. Blitz ball.
Yes.
It's my sports. Did I practice at all? No, of course, because I've been practicing for my entire life for this.
You know who the defending champ of Blitz ball is? This guy.
Well, I have a teammate.
Oh, yeah, and Vinny Rottino, who will be here as well.
Yeah.
Are you going to successfully defend your crown here? Because, I mean, everybody is gunning for you. I just want to let you know.
Do you know when you shake the 8-ball?
Yes, the magic 8-ball.
And it says all signs point to yes?
Oh, yes.
That's how I feel.
Oh, can I use that in my open?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. All right, let's get to it. Biggest series of the year in the National League East begins tonight at Citi Field. A 5-gamer, because they got a double dip on Saturday, between the Mets, who have a 3.5-game lead, and your defending World Series champion Atlanta Braves. Which team do you have more confidence in the final 2 months of the season after the trade deadline is now passed?
You know I don't like this question.
I know, which is why I hit it right out of the gate.
And this is the thing. I've been trying to decide, and I'm still uncertain. So that's going to be my answer to you. I'm uncertain who I'm more confident in. Because if you look at these teams, Chris, these teams are complete. Both of them.
You cannot give an uncertain
Okay, I have an answer. I have an answer.
Okay, what is it?
I'm going the Atlanta Braves.
Ooh, okay.
I think I like the Mets starting pitching a little bit better. I think the Braves have excellent starting pitching. Mm-hmm. I think the lineups are pretty similar. I might even lean Braves there just a tad.
Okay.
But I think the bullpen is better in Atlanta with the additions that they brought in. That's how I know what they can do at the back end of the Mets bullpen. I understand that. They're very good too. I think there's a little bit more depth in the Braves bullpen. I think that shows up at the end of the season and in the playoffs. So I'm going to say Braves. Doesn't mean I'm not confident in the Mets. I really am. But you're making me choose because that's what you do to me, and I'm going to say the Braves.
So at the beginning of the year, even though I picked the Mets to represent the National League in the World Series, I believe, and I have to go back and look, I believe I picked the Braves to win the NL East.
You did.
I think I'm reversing course.
Wow.
I think I'm reversing course. The fact that the Mets have now gotten to early August and Jacob deGrom has made one start, I think that is enormous for them. Now, would I like to have seen them try and shore up their catching and maybe add another bullpen arm? Yes. I felt like the Mets were a little light at the trade deadline.
Didn't hear a lot from them.
No. They weren't like Chicago White Sox light, but they were light.
Or Brewers light. Brewers are on a diet, huh? They're just shedding.
Here's the nice thing, is that there's still 11 games to go between these two teams, right? So we've got the 5-gamer here, and then I think a week from Monday, a 3-gamer starts in Atlanta, and then the penultimate series of the year, I think there's another 3-gamer in Atlanta. So, do you know what penultimate means?
Second to last.
Oh, yes. Somebody studied for their SAT. Way to go. I think the Mets, for whatever reason, they've been able to get through some choppy waters the entire year.
Yeah.
They've had a lot of injuries. You haven't heard a lot of bitching and moaning out of this clubhouse. I think they've done a really good job. Now, I do think that it's probably only going to be a 2 or 3 game separation, max.
Okay.
I think it's really going to go down to the final few days. So, would I be shocked if the Braves won this thing? Absolutely not. Do I think they'll end up being the 4 seed and host San Diego? I do.
So are you saying the Mets are going to win the division and represent the National League in the World Series? Or are you saying the Braves are now going to represent the
No. I'm not going to go that far.
You're on the Mets. So
yeah,
I
Braves, I'll stay with the
Mets.
The problem is that when you get to the playoffs, I want to see the health of every team. I want to see the matchups. Because you wouldn't have gone into the playoffs last year necessarily thinking that the Atlanta Braves are going to run the table.
No, they got hot. Bullpen got hot.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Hey, let me ask you something.
Yes.
5-game set.
Yeah.
Weekend.
Yeah.
Any fireworks? And not like,
no.
I'm talking like.
I don't think so. There's too much good stuff happening in this series.
This could be the series that sets up a lot of drama later in the year. 5 games. It's hot. It's muggy.
Yeah.
It stinks.
Yeah, the Mets have had their issues with getting hit by pitches. I don't recollect Atlanta being the possible perpetrator there.
Okay.
By the way, let's see here. Oh, that's yesterday's. Okay. The pitching matchups are pristine this series, right?
Everyone's got to throw.
Right. Everybody's got to throw. And we got 2 on Saturday, and one of them I think is Scherzer against Fried. And then Sunday, who's going against DeGrom? Is that like DeGrom and Morton or something?
It's Strider.
Oh, Strider.
Yeah,
that's
big matchup on Sunday. I
be great.
texted Max I said, what game are you pitching? He big leagued me.
Max
so I have
Fried,
that.
not Scherzer.
Max Fried big leagued me. Max Scherzer always big leagues me.
Right. All right, let's move on. Juan Soto made his Padres debut last night. What an amazing scene it was. But it was fellow newcomer Brandon Drury who really stole the show. And a great call by Orsillo on this one, too.
Drury to left field. Connor Joe going back. Brandon Drury now plays. It's Slam Diego. Brandon Drury, in his first debut in a Padres uniform, hits a grand slam. Why? Because he's in Slam Diego.
Let's get it in. Yeah, it was good. It was good. Actually, it was great. That is one of the ballparks. I don't know how much time you've spent there since they've been good.
I guess not a lot. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, not a lot.
It has become one of the electrifying venues in this sport. Is there any way that a new vibe can make that much of a difference with a team?
A new vibe is like as far as the crowd. You're talking about guys coming over. Like what vibe are you talking about?
I think the vibe that's been created by obviously the addition of Soto, Hader, Bell, Drury, and soon to be Tatis returning to the team. Obviously, we know it physically makes them better, but I think it picks up the entire franchise and the entire city. Do you believe in that stuff?
Yeah, because everything about this situation is exciting. I mean, we just talked about the call and who's broadcasting the games. Very exciting booth they have. The fans are incredible there. You can hear them in this video that we just played, and it's a great place to play your home games. And then, even in the clubhouse, this is an exciting ball club. So you look at the San Diego Padres, you know they're going to be in it, and you just hope that they continue to go further and further and further in the playoffs because that place will be rocking. You got a guy like Drury and Soto and Bell coming over and Hader. I mean, there are times and there are teams that had the deadline come and go and they didn't add. There's a couple of those that we can talk about. Mm-hmm. That can bring your clubhouse vibe down a little bit because you're like, dude, like we needed some help here. Like that would be really nice. You maybe don't say that out loud, but I promise you they're talking about it in these clubhouses. Now, that is not the problem in San Diego. The front office went out and said, here is some reinforcements, and your reinforcements are absolute studs. I mean, they didn't go out and just get like little pieces, bro.
No, they went out and got pieces.
Everything about San Diego screams excitement and vibage right now, man, and it's just fun to see.
So when you got to the hotel last night after your flight from Los Angeles on a private jet, the first video I showed you was Juan Soto running out to his new position in right field, which was awesome. Now, I was a little ticked off that I didn't see like the shot from behind. I would have gotten the shot of him running out and the fans all going nuts. Instead, they kind of ISO'd him, which was still cool because here he was. He could feel the love literally like wash over him as he was running out there. And I love big moments like that. Like this could be a game changer for one of the few organizations that has never won a World Series. It just feels that way. I wish that they have enough to step on the accelerator and end up as the 4 seed and pass either the Braves or the Mets, who I think will end up being that first wild card. But I want to see the Padres be the top wild card because I want to see that best of 3 series played out at Petco Park. You have to remember, it's the only game in town now, right? The Chargers have moved 100 miles north. And that's it. They don't have basketball. They don't have hockey. They've got solid college sports, but nothing that, everybody gets whooped up about in the town. This is it. So I want to see that vibe carry through so we can get a couple of great, great games under the lights at Petco.
You know where else, you can talk about excitement? It's the guys that are coming over to San Diego. A guy like Drury, a guy like Soto and Bell who, Hader came from a team that was in it. Okay, so like nothing really changed for him. Like, yeah, it's a new surrounding. He's gonna get a little bump in testosterone just because of that, just how it goes. But guys like Drury, Bell, and Soto, I mean, talk about a pick-me-up, dude.
Huge. Well, I mean, they go from some. I mean, Josh Bell has been in Pittsburgh before he was in Washington.
Oh man,
right? Drury's been in Cincinnati. That has been a dumpster fire all year.
He's been in AAA up and down. I mean, he's entrenched in what's going to be one of the more exciting venues in all of baseball.
Yeah, and it's good. It's good for Soto too, because I have a feeling that. Let's remember what he did last year. Wasn't he wearing a Trey Turner jersey at Dodger Stadium?
Yes.
Like it was such a lovable moment, and I think because of the reported turning down of $440 million or whatever it was. And the private plane to the All-Star game, all that sort of stuff. I'm not going to say there's been a stain over him, but he has gone from one of the most lovable players in baseball to a guy where people are like, whoa, why are you doing that?
I don't think anyone's saying that.
I do. I'm
turning down the money?
Yes, I think that people get pissed off when you turn down $440 million, which you and I both believe that he should be doing financially.
I don't think it's any of our business.
I know, but don't you agree that most people don't look at it that way?
Yeah, well, because it's an insane amount of money to turn down.
So all I'm saying,
but that was the Nationals' plan all along.
I get it. We're not here to discuss that. What I'm saying is, I think a little bit of his image has taken a hit with that. That he'll be known as the guy who turned down $440 million, and that pisses some people off. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Until he signs a $500 million deal.
You and I are in the same boat on that one.
He's going to be like, oh, okay.
All right, let's move on. Bigger story in Seattle's rubber game win over the Yankees on Wednesday afternoon. Luis Castillo's dominant debut for the M's, where he was very good, or another blow-up by Garrett Cole, which we've seen now a couple of times this year.
I think it's a bigger deal for Luis Castillo to go into Yankee Stadium and do that. I mean, this is why the Mariners brought him over, is to pitch in big games, to lead that staff. And you go into the Yankee Stadium and do what he did. I mean, that's exactly, like I said, exactly why they bring you over. So I like him answering the bell there. And, that was his first start, right, with the Mariners?
Yes, it was.
Couldn't have a better debut than he had.
No, 8 Ks in 6 2/3, 3 earned on a really hot day. Set the tone. I mean, It was interesting because I think Scott Service said afterward, I wasn't here for the great King Felix years, but that's the sort of impact he could have on our staff. Now, that's really aiming high. You're talking about, in my opinion, the second best starting pitcher in the history of the franchise.
Sure.
And a guy who the King's Court,
incredible.
Totally different venue when he would pitch every 5 days there. So Luis Castillo has certainly got the stuff to keep this team in the race. There's no question about it. I am a little curious about what goes on with Garrett Cole. This is the second time he's given up 3 homers in the first inning. The other time the Yankees actually won a game up in Minnesota. But if you look at his last 6 starts, Plouffe, in 3 of them he's given up at least 4 runs, which is odd for him. I mean, his ERA is over 3.5. I know that obviously some of that is skewed, but when you combine that with what happened with him last year in the 1-game wild card up at Fenway, there's going to be a lot of pressure on him come September or October.
Yeah, this could just be a little rough stretch for him, and that's fine. You'd rather have it now, end of July, early August, and have it show up later. I don't think this is something you have to be particularly worried about. I mean, look, there are times where Garrett Cole is going to get hit. That's just the nature of the game. You just hope it doesn't happen again in the playoffs.
So to you, not that big a story.
I'm not that worried about Garrett Cole.
How about that only twice in his 22 starts has he gone more than 7 innings?
Is that him or is that, pitch count type stuff for
that? That could just be baseball. Because I don't think there's a lot of starting pitchers outside of Sandy who see the 8th on a regular basis.
Yeah, and I think if he's dealing in the playoffs or, towards the end of the year when they need a victory, like he probably will be allowed a longer leash.
I'm not concerned about him. I still love the way that Garrett Cole pitches. He's one of my favorite pitchers to watch, and he's not on my team. I obviously don't have a rooting affinity for him. I root for Cleveland. But I do enjoy watching him pitch, but I do think that if we come out with a list, which we probably will, of the 5 players that have the most pressure going into October, he's going to be on that list.
I think he likes it. I think that's why he signed up here.
Fair enough.
Like I think he's a great big game pitcher. He has to locate with his type of stuff. Like when I think about Garrett Cole, and I don't even know if I ever faced him, but I've watched him pitch a lot. If he's not locating, you can be hittable. Like any pitcher is like that, but I think that him particularly, the way he throws his fastball and the slider, like I don't know what you call that, slider breaking ball. I think he has to locate, and he usually does. And when he locates, he's going to be awesome.
Baltimore Orioles were sellers at the deadline, even though they were very much in the wild card hunt. Now, Mike Elias, who's their GM, he says this is kind of the last step back we are taking. We're now going to push forward. It's lift off from here. We're going to spend big time in the offseason. Is that quote good enough for you, or are you still a little chapped that they didn't hang on to their guys and add?
I think I'm okay with it. If this is true, and he's like, hey, this is the offseason, we're going to go for it, awesome. Like, nobody expected the Orioles to be in the position that they're in right now. I think they're 3 games over 500 right now. Mm-hmm. And I think, these are guys, relievers are pretty volatile. You got a guy like Lopez who has done it for a year now, looks really good. But
value would never be higher.
I think that's the way they're looking at it. And we talk about it all the time on this show. Most GMs, specifically GMs like in the position like the Orioles are in, you got to look kind of like bigger picture, and that's what they did. I think it's the smart play. It hurts a little bit seeing Trey go out there, hit a home run yesterday for Houston. I think they made the right moves, and if they do go spend this offseason, that's awesome. The AL East is going to get even better.
The Lopez trade I get. I think the Mancini one is a little bit of one that chaps me, in part because of my discussion I had with Adley Rutschman, who came on the Rose rotation. He was like, listen, for a young guy like me and for a young team like us, to be able to see Trey Mancini be the same exact guy every day, like I really think that that's invaluable. They're 1.5 games out of the wild card. So right now they are very much in it. I don't know where they're going to finish. I don't think they have enough to stay in it the entire time. But if they do, they're going to need that dude who can deal and keep everybody's heart rate here. And so to me, that was a misfire. I like Mike Elias' comments. I'm okay with it. I don't know if I trust the Angelos family. That's the problem. If I'm an Orioles fan, do I know that they're going to go out? I think Rougned Odor was the only guy they signed to a major league contract in the offseason. The one player.
I guess it just wasn't time for them. Wasn't their plan. If he's coming out and saying this,
Okay, but it's one thing for a GM to say it. It's another thing for ownership to say, here's your dough, go do it, or go trade some of our farm system. Let's remember, they have the number 3 ranked prospect in baseball in Grayson Rodriguez, a right-hander. They have the number 4 ranked prospect in Gunnar Henderson. They have 3 other prospects that are in the top 90. They've got a little bit of everything. They've got a right-handed pitcher. They've got a left-handed pitcher. They've got 2 guys on the left side of the infield. They've got an outfielder. They can trade some of these guys for established stars that make some dough if they feel like this is going to be their time to go in the AL East.
But I don't even think they need to trade these guys. Go out and do it via free agency. What's their payroll this year? What's their payroll been the last 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, their payroll.
Do you know what I mean? So like you're thin in those years so you can be fat when you go for it. So like you don't have to give up your prospects. If you really believe in these guys and they're going to be cost controlled, obviously, you need to have those on your major league roster so you can, supplement it with the higher paid guys and not worry about whatever your payroll may be. But they've been lean, time to get fat. The GM says it, I believe him.
Okay, are you ready for this? Next season.
I'm not ready for this.
They only have one guy who's on an option, an $11 million team option. That's Jordan Lyles, who's actually been pretty good for them. Or a $1 million buyout if they want to let him go. Other than that, there is not one player. Everybody else is arbitration eligible or pre-arb for them. They have $1 million committed to their payroll next year.
They could spend, huh?
$1 freaking million. Now
you make more than that this year.
Okay, that's not important. So the arbitration costs, obviously, all that sort of stuff, that doesn't mean they're going to be paying $1 million for their team next year. There's obviously players that are going to arbitration. There's all sorts of stuff that'll happen. There might be an extension here or there, what have you. But the rest of this stuff, $1 million.
We just confirmed that Chris Rose makes more than the entire Baltimore Orioles team will make next year.
This is
awesome.
It's very much dependent on endorsements and a few other things coming in. Finally, Yordan Alvarez had a very interesting at-bat yesterday against the Boston Red Sox. A 4-strike at-bat against Rich Hill before he grounded out. Nobody noticed. Do we laugh it off or do we say, what the fuck?
Well, as a hitter, I laugh it off and encourage this type of behavior from the umpires. Thank you.
It's like blitzball. We're just we change the rules on the fly.
I mean, if you're in the game, what you say about Jordan is you are living right, player. You are living right. You get 4 strikes. You end up getting out anyway, so that's why it's not that big of a deal. But what's shocking to me is nobody caught it, Chris. The catcher, the dugout.
Alex Cora didn't catch
the
it.
announcers, I don't think, caught it. Like, nobody caught it. And then afterwards, I think the Twitter sleuths were out like, hey, wait a minute. Like, here's the video, and there's 4 strikes. Like, that's the craziest part to me. Umpires mess up all the time. We know that. But.
Yeah. It's baffling. It's baffling. I get pissed off when the umpires in our high school games don't know the count. I'm like, guys, there's 2 of you on the field. And then I see this happen. I'm like, there's 4. And then there's managers, and there's everybody else. I'm surprised somebody in the stadium wasn't like, that was strike. Well, of course they wouldn't because it was in Houston.
Yeah. Do they still use the clickers and have it there?
It's a good question.
I don't ever see anybody looking at their thing. They're too good for that now. Just like the waiter or waitress that takes your order and doesn't write anything down. You're gonna forget.
How would you do were you ever in the server industry?
I've been a pool man and then a baseball player. I applied to work at 2 places when I was in high school. Mrs. Fields Cookies.
Oh my God, you would have ended up 300.
You know what they told me? Didn't have any experience, so I didn't get the job. I'm like, well, isn't this like a fucking entry-level job?
Wait,
like,
what sort of
I've made cookies before.
That's what you say. Hey, listen, I've made cookies from scratch.
Yeah, so I didn't get that job. The other one was at a skate shop. Also didn't get that job. So
you would have been great in a skate shop.
Pool man and baseball
Do you know how
player.
many dates you would have gotten in a skate shop with the skater girls?
I was just so focused on baseball. You know what I mean? I
Recording
was.
in progress.
Care about that.
Come on.
Oh, also I'm a YouTuber now, so that's another job.
Well, you're in your 30s now.
Yeah.
Now that you're established. Yeah, I never applied for like a job in a restaurant or anything. I would have I would have definitely been the dude who carried a tray and would have dropped everything.
You're more of a host. Like you'd go around a manager. Like you'll go around asking people how they're doing. Hey, is everything okay? Can I get you something? That's your role.
Yeah, shirt a little crumply, tie down to my belly button. Yeah,
they put me at the front, the face.
Yeah, the face.
So like
they
draw people in. Yeah,
they want to drop it.
They don't want.
I'm the guy they keep in the back.
Yeah, like. Ugh.
Okay, well that's cool. Let's see, what else do we have coming up on John Boy Media? Are you guys even recording Talking Baseball?
I think we're doing Talking Baseball later tonight. We're still figuring that out. We got a lot of stuff to talk about on Talking Baseball. You and I will be back tomorrow, I believe.
Yes, we're going to be doing this again at the same time. So today, I know a lot of you obviously are downloading this in your podcast form or watching it on YouTube. So this isn't as important to you because it's video on demand. You can do it whenever. But for those of you on AMP, we're going to do it right around the 9 a.m. Eastern hour. I know it's early for those people on the West Coast, and we really appreciate you joining us and getting up early.
Just wake up. What do you mean? Come on.
Well, we want
that
to
hard.
thank them. It's a little change to their schedule.
Oh, okay.
So
sorry, guys.
that's all. But I think that's going to do it for now. So for producer Rob and producer Dan and intern Alden and intern Sam, this is Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. We will see you Friday on Baseball Today.